We have always had this dream of traveling America, the freedom to drive wherever and to meet new people.
This is me, Gracia,
This is me, Yijia.
and the two of us are ordinary people from this tiny island called Singapore.
A successful island where good grades and fancy jobs are valued.
But despite everything we had and everything we were taught, we left it all behind to pursue our dream of traveling the world.
We knew we didn't have much money between us, so we set aside a budget of US $1,000 per month between the two of us and started planning to turn our dream into reality.
The first chapter was getting up the tree. Now, what do two metropolitan Singaporeans really know about building a van? Nothing.
Is this the battery? Babe, this is huge!
Hi, welcome to our crib.
This is day one.
Day
Day
one of our
zero.
project.
Oh my god, it's slum.
Slum, come on. Unlike most Americans, the idea of holding a drill never ever crossed my mind before.
So now we're gonna use a power tool for the first time. Do you need me to support
To be
you?
honest, we didn't even know the difference between a screw and a nut.
Nobody believed that we could build a van with our own two hands, and we all thought that we were crazy and would be homeless by Christmas. But hey, it was our dream, and we had to make it work, eh?
So we got ourselves tickets to the States and started our journey.
Wait, this is the moment.
One flight across the world and $6,500 later, we finally owned Vanny Boy. We brought our van back to Ithaca, where I had rented a basement to build out our dream home on wheels. And this period, honestly, was one of the toughest moments of our lives.
We only had 3 weeks to build the van as I arrived on the 12th of December, the very same day we bought Vanny Boy. If we did not finish building our van by then, we would be homeless, cold, and out on the streets in winter.
Being homeless in upstate New York City could literally mean death for the both of us. So, we worked 20 hours a day to plan, build, and complete our home in order to not be homeless.
This is the midnight situation.
To make things worse, we didn't have a garage and had to do all our van building work completely outdoors in the snow.
And it's super cold. It's like snowing and the car park is empty and I'm shivering. And we still can't mount our freaking solar panels.
On top of all of that, we had to send Vanny for inspections and repairs, which ate at our precious 3 weeks deadline of building the van.
When we finally got Vanny back, we worked like crazy and made so many trips to Home Depot and Walmart for supplies. Somehow we made it in 3 weeks and got ourselves a home. And we finally reached the next chapter, life at the top of the tree.
So we're currently moving into our van. A moment has just dawned on me and I realized that we are van lifers now.
But for the first night in 3 weeks, despite being chilled to the bone, we slept and got a good night of sleep. The next morning, we woke up and finally felt our trip had begun. When we first moved into the van, we encountered so many difficulties. Even the simplest things like cooking was not easy in a small space. But soon we learned to plan our meals and used our fridge well, to fill up our water bottles whenever we had the chance, and to better utilize public bathrooms, as the only bathroom we had in Vanny was a bottle.
People don't believe we actually stay here. This
We were so thankful that finding a safe place to park for the night was never a big issue for us, as we mostly parked at Walmarts and Planet Fitnesses. By the way, Planet Fitnesses are amazing. You can get a workout and a shower all in one. And there, once we finally got our groove, van life was all we ever wanted.
we made our way through New Jersey, hitting Asbury Park, Atlantic City, and Camden before crossing into Pennsylvania, where we experienced Amish life and probably had a very unconventional night at a bar. We experienced college football in Ohio State, froze in West Virginia, met Joe Biden in Delaware, saw eagles in Maryland, traveled the entirety of the Blue Ridge Parkway before tasting Southern hospitality in Georgia. After 11 states, van life was everything we wanted it to be. A cultural immersion, an adventure of a lifetime, an unforgettable experience. Until we hit our 12th state, Florida.
So 100 days into van life. This is how we made it.
This part gets a little long, sad and emotional, but I think I'll let the mechanic explain what happened.
This was all bundled up, laying on top of the gas tank. And as you can see, in all the 30 years I've been working on cars, the whole top of this gas tank has melted from the heat of the wires. Not only did the wires heat it up and they sent them down the road like this, that this could have burned through, caused a fire at any time. They also, if you'll look in the back, cut one of the fuel lines. I have a screwdriver in it. They cut a fuel line, open wires, open fuel line, and sent them down the road.
Not only did these guys charge us almost $2,000 to fix nothing and nearly kill us, we had to spend over $1,000 to get us back on the road again, and for us, that was easily 3 months of our budget. This seemingly arbitrary moment here was huge for us as travelers. This was the moment where we learned the first of our 3 lessons from van life: to be kind. While assholes exist everywhere, we have come to learn that for every asshole that you meet, there are probably 99 great people out there. So many good people have went above and beyond their requirements to help us. The mechanic that you saw earlier, Shane, spent 3 days working on Vanny and only charged us $300 in labor. At another mechanic, people saw us struggling. They fed us.
Oh, we are here at Panda Express with our new friends. Say hi!
Hello.
And helped us out by even shoving money into our hands. None of them were Asian. None of them were rich. None of them wanted anything back in return. But they simply felt the need to help another human being, and we will never forget their kindness.
My mom was alive. She said, Marty, she says, if you ever get the chance to help somebody, she said, go ahead and do that.
So with the help of everyone's kindness and a lifelong lesson learned, the Proper Poppers got back on the road once again. While we started Florida on a low note, it only went up from here. We camped in Universal Studios for 2 weeks and attempted our first ever Walmart challenge.
So, for the next 72 hours, we will be kayaking in the Everglades National Park. And he just whispered in my ear that the challenge for today is to get everything from Walmart.
With $200 worth of supplies, we headed out into the mangroves for our first ever camping trip, and it was incredible.
Literally in uncharted waters now. There's no nautical chart for this. I asked them for it, they didn't even give it to me.
The Everglades was absolutely stunning, but infested with insects. Other than battling the bugs, we battled strong headwinds, extreme temperatures, and a lack of water. But despite the challenges we faced, we always reminded ourselves that even though we might be cooped up in a cheap Walmart tent, dehydrated, soaked, and eating disgusting food, we were happy just to have each other.
And with that, we finished our 12th-state Florida and headed off to the Midwest. While it is true that the Midwest has a lot of nothing, the Midwest actually has a lot to offer. From riding the lifts in Gatlinburg in Tennessee to Indianapolis, where we watched our first movie from the back of our van at a drive-thru theater. Nebraska, where we met Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger. Missouri for its city museum and its glorious St. Paul sandwich. Kansas for the yellow brick path. Illinois to see Clark Kent's hometown. Kentucky, where we met our first Singaporean. Michigan for its amazing hot dogs. But our best experience in the Midwest has to be from our next Walmart challenge, Rock Ride.
So since we're the proper poppers, we're not gonna have a normal rock ride, but a proper poppers rock ride.
This was probably our most memorable memory in the United States of America. Rock Ride is this epic challenge across Iowa where people cycle over 700 kilometers from the west to east Iowa over 7 days and party every single day. While everyone was cycling on crazy expensive bikes, we hit our favorite store again, Walmart, to purchase the cheapest tandem bike possible. We took our Walmart tandem bike and $200 and had a hell lot of fun cycling across Iowa. We met the kindest people, partied like crazy, were hosted to the warmest of hospitalities, and even stayed on a farm for a week. These moments in the Midwest, plus our Walmart challenges, really brought home our second takeaway from van life.
Spending more money does not make it more fun. We can safely say that our Walmart challenges were one of the most fun things we ever did, and it did not require a lot of money. So most people think that to have a lot of fun, you have to spend a lot of money. But that's not true. You just need to spend a little money to have a lot of fun. This last year, even though we were absolutely broke, we really felt like we were truly traveling properly. No hotels, no tour guides, just a van and a plan. It was truly a revelation to us that we didn't need a lot of money to pursue our dream of traveling. So with our amazing Midwest experience in the bag and summer coming to an end, we proceeded to finish up the rest of the states up north. So we hit all 6 states in New England before clearing Wisconsin, Minnesota, and the Dakotas, before we finally hit our next hurdle.
Van life definitely has its pros, and we love our van. Everywhere you go, your home goes. We have a kitchen, bed, and bathroom whenever and wherever we need it. But driving your entire house 40,000 miles around the country and having everything rattle constantly is obviously a recipe for things to break down.
Part and parcel of van life is the adventures, the good ones and the bad ones. Today we are at Lowe's because just 5 minutes ago we had an explosion again. We are so screwed. We don't know what to do.
Not to mention, it was our first time ever building something. So, in New England, our van table broke apart 3 times. In the Dakotas, our bed came apart. In Minnesota, our overhead rack broke. And in Wisconsin, our pantry broke as well.
I don't really know what I'm gonna do. I think I'm probably gonna try to reinforce the wood somehow.
And that brings us to our third takeaway from van life. Whenever shit happens, just take it one step at a time. At the very beginning of our trip, we met this guy and he told us, shit always happens, and that's what makes an adventure. Whenever our table broke, the first thing that we did was always pull over and find someone safe. Number 2, clean up the back. Number 3, knock on doors to borrow some drills. We've met so many kind people along the way who've helped us and shared their tools with us, just strangers. Just remember, keep calm, one step at a time, and everything will work out. With that, Vanny was back together and we kept on going.
At this point, we were more than 31 states into our journey, and we knew our time with our van was gonna come to an end. Since Vanny Boy was so special to us, we wanted to make sure we shared the experience with the ones that we love. So for our last few states, we focused on seeing family and friends and spent a lot of time with Vanny Boy.
My parents, being the super supportive parents they are, flew all the way down from Singapore to clear 4 states with us. These 2 amazing 65-year-old chaps lived in a van for 3 whole weeks with us, and you should totally check out that epic experience in the full YouTube video linked above.
After finishing Colorado, Utah, Nevada, and California, we headed to Oregon, Washington, Wyoming, and Montana, meeting friends all along the way, before quickly clearing Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas just before Thanksgiving. With 1 month left on our visas, we cleared our last 5 states, and before we knew it, after 329 days on the road, we finally crossed into our last state, Alabama.
We are gonna cross the final line to our last state, Alabama.
Shit. Holy shit. Holy shit. Oh, baby.
Let's go. Let's cross the line.
The feeling was like nothing else we've ever felt before. Every cell in our body felt electrified. It was total relief, yet utter elation. And just like that, our journey was over. The 2 of us were back on the ground looking up at the tree that we just submitted. Over the past year, we've picked up so many skills that few Singaporeans would ever use. Beyond our Excel sheets and our PowerPoint slides, we found out that we enjoy fixing cars, bikes, furniture, and we truly have gained a better appreciation of the world around us. They say a journey like that changes you,
Moving out of Vanny.
and I'm sure it did. Now that we're back on the ground, we probably aren't going back to Singapore to climb up that same Singaporean tree again. We hope to find our home on a different
There he
tree.
goes.